everyone. Welcome to episode 38 of Takeaways. My name is Patrick Searcy. I'm the Director of Marketing for ALN Apartment Data, and I'm joined here by the actual star of the show here, our Senior Market Analyst, Jordan Brooks, the well-traveled Jordan Brooks. Jordan, how are you?
I'm great, Patrick. How are you?
I'm doing great. It was great to see you last week. You came into Dallas for the State of the Industry. It was also the Business Exchange for the Apartment Association Greater Dallas. It was real great seeing you. Heard nothing but great things about it. But we're here to talk about the article from the September 2023 newsletter. It's called How Have Stabilized Properties Fared This Year? Well, you took us through a nice little tour of the current environment of stabilized properties. So taking a step back, what was kind of the major theme or observation that really struck you from writing this?
I think one of them would be just, I think I probably pointed out a couple of times throughout the newsletter, and it's something that I've also been pointing out in the various speaking engagements lately is, with the new construction pipeline being such a primary factor right now in market performance, there's an especially pronounced degree of difference between overall occupancy, which would be stabilized and lease-up properties, and just the stabilized occupancy rate. And we usually go through some pains to present, I would say, the overall average occupancy rate, because that is just kind of a more wide-ranging metric that's kind of capturing the full market, because we're getting this flood of new units coming in. As those properties stabilize, yes, their average occupancy will go up, obviously, but they're being replaced immediately by new lease-up properties. And so for operators in a market, the competitive environment that they're operating within is, for example, the overall average nationally, which is 90, versus the overall stabilized average, which would be 93.5, 94%, something like that. So kind of parsing out those differences specifically within the stabilized properties of, yes, occupancy is quite low right now. It's going to be going lower in the coming months. And that's true of the overall occupancy rate or the stabilized rate. But the caveat there, or the silver lining from the stabilized perspective, is, it's not some kind of bloodbath out there where you walk into your average stabilized property and it's 90% occupied. The stabilized average is closer to 94%. But we have seen some softening within that sort of subset of properties as well.
Yeah, every single time that we talk after a newsletter is published, um, there's usually some sort of perspective or maybe a little nugget of data that you didn't have the space to put in here, or that you and I end up talking about that, wasn't in the article. Um, so I didn't really have a chance to talk with you this month, a whole lot about it. But so what was in there, or what wasn't in there that you may have had just not enough space for?
Yeah, I try to keep these, about 1,500 words or less, so that we actually get people reading the full article. So
Yeah.
there's invariably something that doesn't quite fit within that word count limit. So this month, something that I think was interesting was the price class perspective. So if you isolate just the stabilized properties, which, for those that maybe haven't read the newsletter yet, which, pause this and go read the newsletter. But the way we define that for the article this month is properties that entered 2023 already stabilized. Because again, we're trying to get a view of what's been going on with properties that have not been part of the new construction pipeline recently, basically. So if a property stabilized 2 months ago, that's a little bit of a different situation. So properties that entered this year already stabilized. And from a price class perspective, what we've seen is that rent growth has been positive through August across the board, across A, B, C, D for stabilized. But the negative absorption, which we see overall, so overall stabilized properties nationally, net absorption this year is negative. But that negative move has been within the C's and the D's. So it's really not so much an issue from an absorption perspective of new Class A properties coming into the market and poaching those Class A residents from the existing Class A properties, and we're seeing some massive exodus out of the stabilized Class A's. The stabilized A's and B's have had positive net absorption through August this year. It's been the C's and the D's that have suffered the net loss of leased units, and so that when we see that, that's more price pressure, perhaps some household consolidation, people going from a one bedroom to two or a three with roommates, or moving back home, et cetera. So that's something that kind of stood out that we just didn't have the space for.
So I mentioned towards the beginning of this that you were here in Dallas. You did the AAGD State of the Industry. Um, you're still super busy, I'm sure. So tell us a little bit about what you have coming up. Where can we see you? And then tell us a little bit about what your plans are for writing on our blog.
Sure. So if any viewers of this have a time machine by chance, I will be in Nebraska on September 21st, probably before this goes out. September
Close,
28th.
close,
What's that?
close. It may get out.
It depends on how fast Patrick is with his editing.
That's right. That's right.
September 28th, Apartment Association of Greater Orlando. I'll be doing a panel discussion there. And then October 11th, the Arizona Multi-Housing Association. I'm actually going to be doing a webinar for them on October 11th. So if that's a market that's relevant to you, easy enough to just register for that webinar wherever you're located. And then I think that's actually it through October. I've got some other events, but not speaking, just sort of just association events. So slowing down a little bit after a busy few weeks of travel.
What do you have coming up on the blog?
Oh, the blog. Well, basically, we're going to be looking at some of the things that I either didn't get to fit into the newsletter this month, or once we get the September data in here fairly shortly, we're going to start looking ahead at maybe what to expect for the fourth quarter and drilling into those Q3 numbers a little bit.
Awesome. Well, make sure that you do keep an eye on our blog. It's alndata.com/blog. And you can also keep up with the latest on where Jordan is, where ALN is. We'll be exhibiting at several trade shows coming up very soon. And I think our team will actually see you at the Florida Apartment Association conference and expo next month.
Yes.
So keep an eye on all of our social medias. You can follow us on Twitter at ALN APT Data, or just search for ALN Apartment Data on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Right about now, you can hit that like and subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications of our most new content that we have put out. Jordan, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. And it was great seeing you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, Patrick. See you soon.